40-pound vest. I can only imagine if it was 100 pounds, but it makes me want to do some movements and training. This is amazing, a 40-pound vest. I can only imagine if it was 100 pounds, but it makes me want to do some movements and training.
Right now, we see Tyson Fury versus Wilder coming up in July. Any thoughts on that fight coming up?
Well, I mean, that's where when you have the very best fight, the very best, and and things do come up, and there's a lot of things because I don't even want to mention that things do happen. Things do happen. People do certain things to you. I'm telling you, so you can't count it out as somebody said, well, this happened. When they, even with not Tyson Fury, but the other guy, what's his name?
Wilder?
Wilder. I never seen him fight like that ever in my entire whole life. You got to know, something got to happen. How many people forget all their skills? And also forget everything. And so there's something had to happen. I'm a fighter, and I know, and I fight. And I can pick back up and do anything. I can go back into the thing. And all of a sudden, then I remember one day I got in the ring. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, something's wrong. So, but something always wrong when I get ready to get in the ring. But as soon as I strike out and start hitting people, everything come back.
Right.
But in this fight, my heart beating wouldn't even get high. I was like saying, I'm too calm. What in the world wrong? You find out that, you know what? You have to watch your water. You got to watch your water that you drink. You got to have the right people around you all the time to make sure that everything is right.
Yep.
Those are the words of Evander, the real deal Holyfield. And as he stated that it is possible that things could have happened to Deontay Wilder. Okay. And I want people to understand, and like you heard his words, a lot of people like to twist words. A lot of people like to read into things, a lot of things. But what he was saying is basically, he didn't go into details, but he did say like, hey, things could have happened to Deontay Wilder. I never seen him fight like that. I never seen him get in a situation where he forgot all his skills. Okay. And the same thing happened to him in a particular fight. He didn't, specify what fight it was, but he said the same thing happened to him. So he agrees with what Deontay Wilder was going through that night. Now, let me counterpunch. Okay. Things do happen. Things have happened. Okay. I had a lot of people on live last night. Late last night, I was on live, a late night chat, and people were like, hey, well, it's possible. You're saying it's not possible. What I'm saying is the proof is not there to determine Wilder, was he drugged? And did Tyson Fury cheat? Because Wilder's trainer was right there. And if that was the case, why didn't he fire them both? That was all the point I was trying to make. But of course, if I do say that and I'm talking against American, especially if I'm talking against a black American heavyweight fighter, that means I'm not black enough. That means this, that means that. I heard it all. I don't give a shit. Okay? Because nobody can tell you about yourself but yourself. Anyway, back to Holyfield in regards to what could have happened. Yes, it's possible. Like he said, yes, it could have happened. Okay? It happened to him. He felt he didn't look the same. Someone that forgot all of his skills. Okay, let me counterpunch that. First off, the game plan that stopped Wilder from doing what Wilder normally does. It didn't stop Wilder from punching. It just, how he felt is how he felt. Only he could tell you how he felt. He said he felt like a zombie. Okay, well, someone that forgets all of his skill. Okay, well, if you say he just came in skillless, might I remind you, Evander, you're talking about the same person that said, hey, when you have power, you do not need skill. So what big skill factor was he missing that night? Okay. I don't think that affects your skills. If he don't use them in the first place, okay, there you go. You can't talk about skills. Maybe how he looked, his reflexes, his this and that. You know, I looked at the first 2 rounds. He didn't look all that bad to me until he got knocked down. When he got knocked down, I seen the change. I seen him falling around on the floor. I seen him fall a couple times on his own. He was off balance. Something was wrong. But who do we know to base that off of? What proof do we have to go on? You see what I'm saying? That we don't have any. We just have the way, man, I know I felt a certain way. Only Wilder can tell you or tell us how he felt. Okay? He didn't have a good night. Now you can chop it up as that. People might want to look, but I think people have got carried away with trying to look for something that's really not there, and what's not really there, as we saw thus far, is evidence that supports that. Because see, had he been drugged, of course, hey, it would have came out in a toxicology report. You know what I mean? Something would have been in his system that slowed him down, that hindered his reflexes, and a lot of things. None of that came about. So we don't have that to go on. It would be feasible if we did, but we don't. Okay? So as Evander talking about Wilder's skills, like, well, hey, you know, I never seen someone forget all of his skills at one night. And first of all, you can't compare Evander Holyfield to Deontay Wilder. Yeah, they're both Black American champions, right? And heavyweights. But Evander Holyfield is a great. Deontay Wilder is a very good fighter that fought a lot of people that he was a lot better than, until he started raising the profile, and he had to cheat Ortiz to get where he was in Ortiz. He knocked Ortiz out the second time, and plus Ortiz is old as shit. Okay, he drawed with Fury, then he got beat with Fury. Okay, that's his rise of opposition. So we do see resistance with Wilder when he does raise up. Now back to how he felt or whatever. Evander Holyfield also said this, and then this is very important. He needs to be around people that he can trust. Okay, now for all you guys can take that however you want to. If you want to say, hey, well, maybe Mark Breland wasn't trustworthy. Okay, well, if you think that, fine. But can we also agree that if he wasn't trustworthy, that means JD's ass wouldn't either? That's exactly what Evander Holyfield was talking about and referring to. Like, well, hey, you have to have a good team around you. You know what I mean? So you can look at that and say, oh man, the spike water did. No. What he meant was you have to trust who is around you, meaning you have to trust that they know what they're doing. Okay? When it comes to you and your welfare. So if anybody knew anything that did any action that helped Wilder was Mark Breland, to me. That's my opinion. But if anybody that could have possibly hurt Wilder, if Tyson Fury did pull the okie doke, that's JD's, because you had to look at him like, well, why didn't you see these gloves look the way they look? Because his screenshot showing this dude's gloves real thin and tampered like-ish, right? They looked, if anything, you would say, hey, them gloves don't look right. They didn't have any padding in them, right? So if JD's didn't see that, well, JD should have been fired. That's easy to say. That's what he's saying. Okay, that is exactly what he's saying. And on top of that, he needs to watch his water. So what Evander Holyfield was talking about is exactly the same shit that Tyson Fury was talking about 4 or 5 years ago when he was talking about Klitschko and how Klitschko was trying to cheat him and how people could possibly cheat him by putting shit in your water. Does that mean Tyson Fury put something in his water? No. That means that he needed to watch his water. If he felt that the water was the reason, well, you're responsible for what you put in your body. So if you want to blame that water, you should understand and you should have faith in knowing that water wasn't tampered with, depending on the people that surround in your circle. Okay, that's exactly what that means. So Evander Holyfield, in short, was saying, hey, Evander Holyfield, you're responsible for looking after your own shit. You should have a team around you. You don't have to worry about, trusting or not. You know you can trust them if you have a good team around you. So obviously he didn't. If you let a guy that's your head trainer look at a guy's gloves and then the gloves come out to be suspect, or you doubt those gloves. So that means if you doubt that fighter was legit with you, you also doubt the legitimacy of your trainer, because your trainer was there watching the man put the gloves on. That's nothing else. That's nothing else you can really go from. There's nothing else to talk about that. Evander Holyfield also has, as you know, Evander Holyfield has 20 years on Deontay Wilder or more. Okay, so he been in the game longer. So in that worst shit going on at the time. Okay, that Margarito shit happened in like '09. Okay, so yeah, people did things like that. So Evander Holyfield was aware of the things that went on with dirty people and dirty tactics. But those things, needless to say now, are harder to pull off. Can they pull off? People have tried. Ask Margarito. He tried it again and again until they caught him. Eventually they caught him. But let me leave you guys with this. For those who feel that Tyson Fury cheated. And you know Wilder wanted to fight. You know you're a Wilder fan, and you know you wanted Wilder to get his get back. Why in the world would you lure or make known that Tyson Fury cheated? The last thing you would want to do is to do that. You can't catch a person that's wanted or accused of. You know what I mean? Because even if Tyson Fury did it, you'll never catch him now. So making a noise is not good enough in situations like that. Justice is. So how will you get justice? Discreetness. You be discreet about what you feel. All that shit in Deontay Wilder's camp should have been quiet. Why? Because at that point, if they were going for a third fight and they won the fucking arbitration anyway, they had to fight anyway, they would have shut the fuck up and allowed Tyson Fury to do that again, supposedly. With the same people in this camp, with the same type of gloves, and then they would have caught him. Not the things wouldn't have went the same way. It would have went a totally different. That means, okay, as soon as he put those gloves on, hey, take those gloves off. But he can't do that now, can he? No. Because at this point, they're already hip to, okay, well, we can't do that anymore if we were doing anything at all. See, that's the dumbest thing I ever seen anybody do. Accuse a guy 1,000 times over and over again, day after day, week after week, month after month, and then you expect to catch him. You're not going to catch him now, idiots. You should have shut the fuck up and then made it news. That's why I know it's an excuse. Because if you really wanted to catch Tyson Fury doing some shit like that and he got away with it, right? Because, see, let me give you guys a history lesson. Even when Margarito, right, when they were wrapping the gloves with Margarito, yes, the commission did miss it. But the coach didn't. Okay, Nassim Richardson, God bless the dead, assalamu alaikum, he didn't miss it, right? And the block fell out. As he explained, the block fell out. And that just goes you to show if Team Cotto would have came forth and said, you know what, Margarito's a cheat, that motherfucker was cheating, and then it would have made, an uproar throughout the boxing community that Margarito cheated, they wouldn't have done that now, would they? Because they would be too nervous. They would be very apprehensive not to pull the same dumb shit. So it was like, no, Margarito, we can't do this shit this time because Cotto's making a stink because he seen that fucking rap and the shit was swollen and it was cracked like a cast. Because it was a cast, plaster of Paris. It hardens as you fight. And that's what he was using. And we don't know how long he was using that. If you want to assume Jarrell Miller cheated every fight, you better assume that Margarito cheated every fight. Counterpunch. So just leaving you guys with that food for thought. You guys tell me what you think about Evander Holyfield's explanation of what could have happened with Deontay Wilder. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.